Hello, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of the Garagefathers. We're live here in the studio in Fresno today, and I am so pleased to introduce you to our guest. I feel really honored to have this person here. In fact, we've got a whole party happening right here in your living room right now, thanks to the KC24 CBS 47 Plus app studios here in Fresno, California. I always kind of felt ripped off because I was born in the late 70s and I missed the golden era of drag racing. And I always heard my dad tell stories about watching those races. And if I could go back in a time machine and go back and see this specific type of drag racing, which is the Gasser Wars, which raged from the 50s on up to the early 70s, man, that would be the first destination I would choose to go back and be a witness to that. Our guest of honor today is not only a witness of the Gasser Wars, but a veteran. And his weapon of choice, of course, was the 41 Willie Scoop. And he's somebody who is right here from Central California. Please welcome my new friend, Joe Arosa.
Hi.
Joe, thanks for coming in.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Right.
It's a pleasure and exciting.
Well, thanks for being with us. And as you can see, we've got a full panel here. So in the white T-shirt here is my good friend Joel Wisbon. He's been on a guest on the show here a handful of times. Hey, Joel, thanks for coming with us. So Joel and I were at a little party that I threw at my shop, and this very young man, Joe, came and approached us. And when we started to hear his story, we were like, okay, stop. We got to get you to come in and tell the audience about your story. It's really incredible. You're not going to want to miss any of it. And then over here, the handsome gentleman in the black shirt, of course, is Joey, who is Joe's son, who was a witness to the events that that Joe was a part of. And so, Joe, would you mind sharing some of your biggest accomplishments in regards to the NHRA?
Well, accomplishments that are like at the time, because I never set my goals too high, dream, but
you did receive some major awards, right?
The first trophy, I still have it, a little thing about this big with a little picture of a 36 Ford Coupe, was at a Rossi drag strip. That's about 10 or 15 miles north of Visalia, had a little airstrip. Still, I understand that airstrip's still going. That's spring of 59. I had a 58 Bonneville Pontiac Super Stock, and I had some runner-ups with it, and it was hard to beat some of those 57 Chevys. And I got my first trophy there, so that was a big, exciting day. And I didn't really dream of accomplishing any much more than that. So the biggest accomplishments probably were the Indy Nationals, 1967 Indy Nationals. We won our class there. B-gas blown with a 41 Willys Coupe, blown Chrysler, Eskandarian equipped B&M Hydro. And also was probably the closest to our heart, although they were really good friends and good friends of ours and great people. We didn't run off at Indy for some reason with any famous car as famous as Stone Woods and Cook. I think it broke a motor there that day. But we were able to win the 65 March meet and ran off with them in the finals. And of course, that was our first win of any sort, of any size. Up to then, it was just little small local tracks like Visalia, Madera, Orosi. There was kind of a drag strip, San Luis Obispo, Salinas. There was a drag strip every 50 miles all back in those days.
Wow.
Mostly local people came, but
Well, that's quite an accomplishment for somebody who didn't set his goals very high. So let's talk about what led you up to there, though. Let's start at the very beginning of you becoming infected with this disease that we all seem to share with these hot rods.
Well, my dad was a farmer, an immigrant farmer, and he wasn't into it. I think we did some of our own crop work, and he had a couple of old tractors, and I think he had a pipe wrench and 2 size crescent wrenches, that's all, and a hammer. And, to hook up equipment and fix a few little things. And then, so I really never turned an end wrench, probably never had an end wrench in my hand or seen one till I took auto shop my freshman year in high school. And then I purchased the first car I ever owned. I purchased a 31 Model A coupe. And so through the 4 years I was in auto mechanics, I completely rebuilt the motor and actually sanded it and painted it myself.
Oh, nice. Now, about what year is this?
That was from 53 to 56, 7.
Okay.
I completed it in 57 at home, actually at my uncle's house, because he had a little bigger barn and shop, and there was some people that worked for him there that knew a little mechanic work and had some tools. This particular picture right here is what the car looked like in the very beginning, and then the last picture was what it looked like in the end. So we put it together there, but there was some, excuse me, older guys at that picture there is at the 60 March meet. I debuted the car in early 60. So the older guys that were seniors, one of them had a hot rod, a 2-door Ford Vicky with a Oldsmobile in it, LaSalle. They influenced me into hopping up that Model A. So they got a B head, what they called it at the time.
Okay.
Higher compression, and talked me into putting it on, but evidently I didn't have the right ring and piston combination for it. And so, like I say, I finished the project up at my uncle's house with these guys' tools, and because we didn't really have any tools yet, and got it going and tried it out on the side of the road there in front of their house. And it was a hopped up Model A. That's my first hopped up car. And it felt great. It pulled out great, awesome, and low in second. When I got up to the top end of third, it put a hole in the side of the block just like a top fuel car.
Oh, wow.
And scattered parts alongside the road.
Just a kid in a hopped up Model A, huh? Like the song says.
So I fixed it up, repaired it, put another motor in, and I had bought it for $25 and sold it for $35. So that was my first project. And then when I was 19, I got my first car. It was a 58 Pontiac with a super stock motor in it, 3-speed on the column. And so that was my first race car. That's the car that I got my first trophy with at Arosa.
And that was in 58, 59?
Pardon?
When did you race that car?
Early, I raced it 59, 58, end of 58, 59, and 60. But the end of 59, I was racing it. By then, I took the super stock motor car out of it, put it in a 40 Woolies pickup, and was racing it.
Oh.
And my wife was racing. Then I put a stock motor with a 4-barrel carburetor out of a high patrol car in it, and I still had the low gears and the ignition and headers and combination, and still ran well. And My wife then raced it for about a year.
That's the Pontiac?
The Pontiac,
Yeah.
till we sold it. She actually picked up a couple of trophies with it, one on our honeymoon.
Wow.
Nice.
Actually raced it at Fremont, got a trophy, and raced it at Long Beach and got a runner-up plaque. Barbara Pontiac won that. The service managers, all the service managers in those days raced the car because that's when the hot cars were coming out.
Oh, yeah.
So they had a fun job. They had a little bit better stuff because they only made those stock classes. You had to qualify, the parts. There was a limit on what you could run
Yeah.
to be stocked, and they only made 50 of those hot parts. Better cams, better lifters, and ignitions, and so the Pontiac dealerships or Dodge dealerships, whatever, Ford, they got those, and so the service managers mostly had those. So
Nice.
it was fun. She had a great time with it.
Now, can you give any tips to maybe young engaged couples on how to get your wife to go drag racing on a honeymoon?
Yeah. Give the girls advice. If you would like to race, marry a guy that's got a race car.
No, that's good advice. Hopefully there's some girls watching this show.
Nowadays, the grandkids bring it up sometimes, and my wife, and then she was having fun. Now we've got 22 great grandkids
Wow.
and counting, and 9 grandkids. Sometimes the grandkids bring it up, and she said, "Oh, I was young and stupid then."
So it sounds like after 59 or in 59, you started to itch for something different than the Pontiac?
I seen, well, I went to the 59 March making race, went with my friend, a mechanic, a hot rod mechanic, and this neighbor that raced a fuel motorcycle. Went with them, and that's my first outing over there. I actually raced it there, but I went a couple of rounds and lost the clutch. So actually had to drive it home in low and second gear to just baby it home.
That was the Woodstock of drag racing.
Don Gardis later called it the Woodstock of drag racing.
Wow.
59 March.
59 March made.
That's the year he came out from Florida thinking he was going to show everybody in California up, right? And then he didn't, right? He kind of failed at that.
They were turning times, big times back there, and Crispin and Cannon was turning big times out here. So the Smokers and Lodi and either Half Moon Bay or Fremont or all 4 of them got together and chipped in $1,100, but that's like $12,000 today.
Yeah.
To get him out here. That's probably the most a drag racer ever even thought of seeing in those days. So they got him out here, and then they'd have a meet in March after Formosa. So he went to all 4 of them, and that's how it all got started.
Wow.
And they were expecting 4,000 or 5,000 people, and they got like 55,000 people. 15 smoker members and their girlfriends and wives, and 2 sheriffs with a German Shepherd dog taking care of the whole event. It was a crazy deal.
Wow. Wow.
So then, I never seen a Willys before. I knew there was a Willys Jeep, but I never. Al Dalporto from Northern California, he was a vegetable farmer, and he put a blown Chevy with a stroker in his 40 Willys pickup and 1 gas. And interstate, seemed like every sandblasting company in L.A. had a blown Willys. And the Interstate Sandblasting Company won the B gas. Doug Cook won C gas with a blown Chevy and a 37 Chevy.
Okay.
And,
Oh,
and I
wow.
think a 57 Chevy won like D gas.
Okay.
I've never seen that hot of cars in my life, Came from L.A., so I never seen a Willys. I didn't know they existed. So after we got home back at Red Shop, I said, man, I got to get me a Willys and put that motor in a Willys. And he said, well, that's going to be kind of hard to do because there's not many of them. You're not going to find one in every car lot.
Yeah.
And So this is weird. So we put the motor in a 50 Ford and raced it as a gasser for about 6 or 8 months, but had traction problems and drive shaft problems because it was a long drive shaft. And so I said, we need to get a Willys pickup. He said, well, that's going to be hard to find. So one day he put rebuilt a flathead motor and put it back in a 50 Ford and sold it to this little guy from Farmersville, a little goat farmer, but he also worked at a valve place over there, and he sold it to him for a work car. And he didn't have, Red was a good-hearted guy, and this was 1960, and people trusted each other more then, and he sold the car for $100, and the guy only had 35. So he told him, I know you got to go to work, so go ahead and take the car and then come here and just pay it off in 3 or 4 months. Bring me a payment. So, okay, so as the guy's walking out, Red says, do you have anything you maybe could trade on that, the rest of the money? The guy thinks of it. He said, I got a 40 Willys pickup I'll throw in on it. That's hard to believe. We couldn't believe it.
Oh, wow.
So the next day he comes bringing it over with no motor or transmission, which saved us work.
Yeah.
And that was our first Willys.
Nice.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy the way it was $75. I think he owed him 70 or $75.
Wow. And how'd you set that one up?
Pardon?
How did you set that one up?
We put the
engine?
Pontiac in it and first we put a Dodge rear end in it and it wouldn't hold up. So then we put a Chrysler Imperial rear end, and then we never lost a race with it in B gas.
Oh, really?
We did pretty well.
Was the Pontiac naturally aspirated or supercharged?
Pardon?
Was that supercharged or naturally?
No, it had 3 carburetors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then we took the 3 carburetors off, and Red built, that was my friend, the mechanic, he built a log manifold, 8.6 carburetor manifold for it.
Oh, okay.
And so I don't think it ran much better, a half a mile an hour or 3/4 of a mile an hour, but it looked bad, scared people.
Yeah.
Did it mostly for the looks.
Right.
But it ran pretty, and it didn't run that much faster than the Ford did, maybe 2 or 3 miles an hour. I thought I was going to pick it, but it chopped a 1.25 off the ET. That's about 12 or 13 car lengths. Because it just get a hold of the earth and leap out there compared to Ford skating around.
Wow. Well, and how long did you wait? How long did you race the pickup for?
We raced the pickup till May or early 60, late 59. We only ran it for about 6 months or 8 months, and then Red was going to move to Morro Bay, and which he did in early 61. And we were talking about it around the shop there. And another weird Willys find. There's a friend that I graduated high school who had a 56 Chevy. He'd go in there and have him tune it. Red was going to move to Morro Bay, and he'd like to take the pickup, but he didn't. I had bought a blown DeSoto motor.
Oh, nice.
And he didn't want to really put it in the pickup. He didn't really want to run blown. And he also was moving to the coast to shop. He'd like to take the pickup, race it over there. He's building a homemade injector for a 327 Chevy. And, 338-inch Chevy. It was a homemade one because they didn't make 327s yet. I don't think they came out till 64, 3.
Yeah.
So he said, this friend said, Joe, why don't you get your own Willys? I said, that's not going to be easy to do. He said, I know where there's a coupe at. So go over to east of Visalia. His wife drives us over there in that 56 Chevy and paid $40 for it, and both of us got in it and drove it home.
You drove it home? Wow. A 41 Willys coupe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that this car right here? Let's see here.
Pardon?
Is that this car here that's on the screen in front of you?
Yes, that's it there.
Is this the early days? That looks like it's probably like maybe later.
That's about
63.
in the middle. You know what? The reason see that paint isn't as good looking as that real early one.
Uh-huh.
There's a root beer. a new painter. Their painter retired. He threw a lot of colors together and played with it.
Yeah.
And this new painter, he came out that way, and I didn't really like it. And so he said, I don't really want to do all that, play with mixing all those paints. So why don't you pick another color? So I had a friend that had a 56 Chevy Dodge Royal, 55 Dodge Royal blue with 10% silver. And I really liked that, so I tell him, how about that? He said, yeah, I can do that. So that's when it changed, 1965, changed to that color.
Oh, 65. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I drove that car home for $40, and it's sitting in a hot rod building shop in Boise, near Boise, Idaho today. My grandson and Joey's son went over there and tried to buy it. He said he would sell it to us, but it's been raced and reduced to a bare primered shell with a dash cut out of it.
So did he want to look? He probably wanted a couple bucks more than 40, but hey,
Yeah.
he's reasonable, right?
Right. So he didn't want to sell it to anybody, but he would sell it to us because it was our car. But he wants $35,000 for it.
Oh, jeez.
And I came home, we kicked it around a little bit. Joseph kind of wanted to buy it, but Joey said, it's hard to pay $35,000 for a bare shell that you drove home for 40.
Yeah. How long ago was that?
About 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So at the time he was building it, going to paint it candy apple red for his street rod for his wife, because she was a big Mazmanian fan. She had, her grandpa owned a bunch of land down in Long Beach. She came from there, and she'd go down there with her older brother when she was a kid. So
Okay.
he's building it for his wife.
Oh, okay.
I
I
don't
said
know
he'll buy it
how.
when his wife gets tired of it.
Yeah.
Come on.
Paint it blue.
That's actually not bad. I mean, like 41 Willys, that's the bucket list car for me that I'll probably never have. But
Yeah.
I mean, they're $50,000 for a basket case sometimes. You know, for a steel one.
Right.
And
right,
with
right.
the incredible history your car has,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Now, in those early days, how long did it take you to get that coupe to be competitive?
Probably from early '60 to on the big showroom floor, the big stage. 5 years.
Okay.
Now we won some small stuff, like I said, Visaya, Arosa, Madera, San Luis Obispo, Salinas. We'd go there. We actually won a pretty good gasser meet with it at San Fernando one day.
San Fernando.
But the big national meets, to win a big national meet, 5 years. Yeah.
Okay.
We finally redid it, put a new roll cage in it, and put the quarter elliptic suspension in it.
Oh, okay.
Because we couldn't get traction too good.
Now, was it a bit of an everyman sport back then? Like you didn't have to be a super wealthy guy to go and race in the gas classes, or did you?
No. A top fuel car in those days, there was, at the 61 March meet, there was 110 top fuel cars. That's the first round at Indy there.
Oh, that's
Eastern Automotive, the guy in the yellow car is named Joe
is
Arosa.
that's the Eastern Automotive gasser? Okay, yeah.
Eastern Automotive. They also had, him and his brother had another four-door, that's Billy Holt from Alabama. That was a final trophy run. They had a four-door Willys. They ran in B gas unblown, that they won that class. Him and his brother they have two Willys there.
Wow.
You might mention all the people, as you built the car up, the people that you be, friends that kind of in the industry, like B&M and
Ed Eskandarian, B&M, and Gene Adams at Hillborn Fuel Injection, and Joe Reith at Reith Automotive, and C&T Automotive. They did my cranks early on.
I got to interview Ed Iskandarian a couple years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he said back then during the gasser wars, that was kind of the heyday. And what he would do is he would sponsor a car. He'd give somebody a supercharger, a cam, and maybe a set of heads.
Yeah, he did. After we won the March meet, he did that for us.
Did he?
Yeah,
Okay. Wow. Wow, that's cool.
And did you know Ed from the area growing up and everything?
Well, he used to, we'd go there and pick up stuff. My brother and I, he'd take us to lunch.
No kidding.
Local.
Oh, yeah.
This is a really neat human heart story. But Ed got a big heart, and he has a huge shop and warehouses in the back. And he used to buy a new Cadillac every 3 or 4 or 5 years, from the 60s to the 80s maybe.
Yeah.
And they're all there. And when he'd show up at Formosa, nobody could get in the car with him but the driver, because it was all full of gearboxes and cam boxes and hot rod magazines and drag news and the rest of the car.
Wow.
And Bones says all that stuff's still there in that warehouse behind the shop.
Oh, I'm sure. You know, when I interviewed him, he told me a great story. It's one of my favorite stories I've ever heard. He said he'd bought a cam grinding machine from Winfield. I think is Eddie Winfield, I think, way back then.
Yeah.
And he was trying to grind some cams, I think on a flathead four-banger.
He still remembered the name of the guy with a 32 coupe roadster that he sold the first cam to.
Oh, no kidding.
I can't remember it. But
really?
Told
Wow.
us that.
Yeah. Well, he told me like he had some struggles. He was working on this engine, grinding different cams. Everything he did was a negative on the dyno. It made less power. And he was just about to give up and sell the grinding machine, the cam grinder, for scrap. And he said he's making breakfast one morning and he picks up an egg, and before he cracks it, he holds it up and he says, "That's it. That's the cam profile. That's a low profile." Yeah, and he said he skipped breakfast, went right to the shop, ground out a cam, and he made like 10 or 12 extra horsepower, you know.
Had more duration and lift.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that egg, we would none of us would know who Ed Iskandarian was, you know. So, pretty incredible story.
He got such a great. He took us to lunch one time at that little restaurant near his shop.
The Iski Diner.
Yeah, and his son and myself and Bones and another couple.
That's Bones Balo?
Bones Bulla, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Drove Mazmanian's car.
Yeah.
And he sat there and told us his whole life story. His dad was a peach. He was born in Arosa.
Yeah.
His dad was a peach. I'm pointing the wrong way. It's that way. I thought I was home.
That's all right.
His dad
Hey,
was a
I'm
peach.
sorry, Joe. Let me cut you off real quick. I know it seems like we just started talking, but we're almost out of time. But hey, for you guys watching at home, guess what? I've got great news. I kind of had a hunch that we might go a little more than a half hour, and the best is yet to come. Joe's agreed to stay with us for another half hour. So we're going to continue on as we leave your living room for today, but tune in next week so that you can make sure and capture the second and probably most important half of Joe's story here. Before we go, a couple of quick announcements. Speaking of this party that we're having here in your living room, we're having another party on October 11th. It's the Golden West High School Back in School Car Show, and I want you to come down there and hang out with me. I'll be there all day, and it's a really great show. We've been sponsoring it for 5 or 6 years since its inception. And this whole thing is put on for the choir of the Golden West High School. And it's a great cause, and it's a great show. There's tons of awards and prizes, food trucks, lots of food, great people, probably 150 to 200 cars. So wherever you are, it's worth making the trip down to Visalia to Golden West High School on October 11th. I hope to see you there, guys. And hey, if you're loving this episode or you're not loving what we're doing, get in touch with me. You can get in touch with me here at the following social media websites. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to tune in next week, Thursday at 4:30. I'll see you there and then.